A recent YouTube video titled UFOs Flying in Formation Near the Moon shows three objects coming around the limb of the moon and disappearing into the shadow. In the video, the cameraman shows a wide-angle view of the moon, slowly zooming in to show the objects coming around the limb of the moon. In order to investigate this further, we need to show where on the moon this may have occurred. The video was shot shortly after new moon, and the largest feature that can be seen at the terminus is Mare Crisium. This feature can be also seen in this moon mapping program. The cameraman then zooms in on the northern limb of the moon just in time to see three objects appear from behind the moon. These objects appear over the crater Endymion, which will give us a rough idea of the scale of the shadows and the size of the blips. This crater is 122 kilometers or 75 miles across. When viewed from the North Pole, we can see the direction that the sun would need to be in order for it to cast a shadow at this angle. Here we can see the three objects coming over the edge of the moon and into view, casting long shadows onto the moon. In slow motion, we can see the objects coming across the surface of the moon, in which we can see shadows being cast from these objects onto the surface of the moon. Using the crater size as a reference, we can determine that one of the shadows is approximately 75 miles long. Careful examination of the shadows shows that the light source is coming from a different angle than the shadows being cast by the ridge of the craters and the mountains. This is also apparent on the shadows of the blips as it comes across the surface of the moon. It appears as if the sun is coming from the bottom right-hand side, casting a shadow that, as you can see in this photo, is very long. It would appear as if the sun is coming from the bottom of the screen rather than the right-hand side of the screen as it does in nature. A quick calculation would show that these objects would have to be traveling at over 1 million miles an hour or over 50 times faster than the International Space Station in order to leave a shadow that is traveling at that speed across the ground. In order to cast a shadow of this size, these objects would have to be immense, possibly 35 miles long by 10 miles wide. Three objects of this size would easily be within reach of most professional and amateur equipment and would have been detected by multiple sources at the same time. Therefore, I conclude that these are not real UFOs orbiting the moon, but more likely an artist's rendition of events that have never happened.